So, with just a couple weeks ago until Captain Marvel hits, the 21st film in the MCU, set in 1995, where Carol Danvers comes back to Earth and gets caught up in the whole secret invasion army of the Skrulls. And listen, I've criticized the trailers, the marketing. The two trailers we've seen have looked kind of boring. I will say though that the little shorter TV spots that we've seen up the action a bit more, and it looks to be a little bit better. But that being said, none of it has to do with Brie Larson. Her acting in all of the trailers has been quite literally terrible. And she's not a bad actress, so I don't know why they're using the takes that they're using. I don't know if they're trying to subvert expectations, or by that I mean like go in with a really low bar and then be blown away by what we get to see. I find that to be a little bit weird. But what I find to be super weird is the fight over it, right? Because there's a big culture war fight over Captain Marvel. People coming out trying to say that if you criticize the film, you're sexist. I've been called sexist multiple times for saying that I don't think it looks very good because the trailers aren't very good. And I've explained my whole position on that. But just 12 days ago, 13 days ago, we got this headline. Captain Marvel box office now tracking for a monstrous $160 million opening. This was just less than 2 weeks ago. $160 million opening all across the headlines. Everyone on Twitter was, we did it. We did it. $160 million. Everyone go see this movie. Now, of course, Fandango came out and said, look, that Captain Marvel ticket pre-sales were the third highest of all MCU films behind Infinity War and Black Panther. Third highest. So this is looking to do pretty well. Looking to do pretty good, right? Remember, $160 million opening weekend. Now we're seeing this. Captain Marvel eyes heroic $100 million plus opening weekend. That's from yesterday. So literally 12 days in between the posting for the monstrous $160 million opening for Captain Marvel. A huge win for not only representation in movies for superheroes, a female-led movie, as just this big win for Marvel across the board. Another huge movie opening for the MCU's first March film release. Now it's saying $100 million? That's a hell of a drop. A $60 million drop is a hell of a drop. It's like a 40% drop. It's a 40% drop from what they were expecting or what they were first talking about. Now, people have argued that the original estimate came in from Disney. Now, this one's more from industry analysts, so it's a little bit more on the reasonable side. Look, studios have a pretty decent metric for tracking these sort of things. And they might have run on the higher numbers. They certainly didn't try to correct the issue. But as we get closer to the film coming out and they start looking at interest from the marketing and looking at Brie Larson herself being in the headlines for what she's been in the headlines for, they may in fact be looking at this in the situation of going, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see this doing as well as they want it to do. I just don't. I think $100 million is a modest opening. I think $100 million is definitely one where it's not going to be viewed as being not a success, but it's not $160 million. Now, they have tried to argue that Ant-Man and the Wasp, which opened last July, opened to $75 million, went on to gross $622 million globally, which was a lot more than the first Ant-Man movie in 2015, which I think did about $512 million worldwide. So there was well over $100 million more earned with Ant-Man and the Wasp. And quite frankly, I think there's going to be a lot more sales of Ant-Man stuff post Endgame, to be honest with you. I think that what we've got of Ant-Man is only going to be loved even more in regards to Endgame. But they're also trying to say, oh, look at like Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman went on to go do $103 million in June of 2017, going on to gross $821 million worldwide, which is true. It was a phenomenon. It was a great movie. So they're trying to argue that even though it might open softer than what the original estimates are, it will go on through positive word of mouth to gross over $800 million. They're hoping. Now, don't get me wrong. People out there are really wanting this to be $1 billion movie. I don't predict that happening. I don't foresee that happening. I don't look at it as being $1 billion film. I could be wrong though. We've seen Disney releases in March gross $1 billion We have Alice in Wonderland 2010, over $1 billion. 2017's Beauty and the Beast, or 26, was it 20? No, 2017's Beauty and the Beast, mid-March release, went on to gross over $1 billion. So it can be done. Movies released in March can hit that $1 billion mark. But like I said, I don't think people are specifically going to see this movie in its opening weekend for anything more than its connection to Endgame. Yes, you have your diehard Carol Danvers fans. You have your diehard Captain Marvel fans. You want to see what Easter eggs are going to be there. You have your diehard MCU fans. I'm one of them. I've already said this movie has my damn money. All right, that's already happening. We know that. We know that those things exist. But people, again, going and seeing it its opening weekend to $100 million and then watching it drop off the next weekend because there's not a lot of repeat viewings, that can be an issue. That, in fact, will be the issue. One of the reasons that took Black Panther to 1.3 billion was its repeat viewings, because a lot of people really liked it. And yes, it was a solid film of representation on screen, and it was 100%. And I liked it for it. But that's a little different, though. It's a little bit different. The gender-based marketing for Captain Marvel may not work in that regard. It's a much trickier issue to navigate. And Brie Larson going out and using her platform right now for activism is not helping, because there are a number of journalists out there that feel like they're being shat on by her. If they talk about diversity and inclusion, and they're not being able to get they're not getting invited to the party, and they're diverse and inclusive because they're not all white men, which is essentially what she's trying to say. It's that can hurt it as well. People are taking notice of this. They are. And this is one of the things I've talked about before in regards to like the Rian Johnson situation, with Lucasfilm needing to issue some form of statement. You don't want the trolls to control the narrative. And in regards to the on the street word of mouth, not Twitter. Twitter doesn't account for as much as you think. I'm sorry, it don't. All right. It's a dwindling platform. It will be dead in 5 years, or much different in 5 years. While people on Twitter might lose their shit over this film, people on YouTube are not. And those people have a much, much wider sphere of influence than you might think. The fandom menace hurting Solo, I believe, is a real thing. On top of middling reviews and a really bad opening weekend. Memorial Day was not a good time. I think had it come Christmas, it would have been better, but that's not the point. Going from 160 million estimate less than 2 weeks ago to 100 million shows you that interest is dropping. The trailers being not helping. The short spots are helping because they're okay. The longer form trailer is not good. You're going to notice that you're going to notice if things start getting really bad, you're going to start seeing a lot more Sam Jackson in the marketing. You're going to see Sam Jackson on a lot more talk shows. You're not going to see as much Brie Larson. You're not going to see as much of that. You're going to see her on the main ones, but not as heavily touted around as Sam Jackson, because people are hype for Endgame and they want more info on Endgame. So I do think that some of the marketing might actually tease more info on Endgame, as well as the Star Wars trailer. I think we're going to get a Star Wars trailer for it. I think that's one of the, I think we're going to get a tease for the Oscars and a full-blown trailer for Captain Marvel. Considering the fact that Star Wars Episode 9 wrapped production today, they're already working on a trailer. It's probably teased during the Oscars next week. And then just a week after that, or a week or so after that, is Captain Marvel. So they're going to tease a teaser, and then they're going to drop a full trailer to get butts in seats, because that is a smart business move. It's manipulative. It is, but it's smart and it works. So anyway, I'll leave it to you. Captain Marvel, do you think it's going to hit 160 million or 100 million or 120 million? Where do you foresee it happening? Where do you foresee it going? If you made it this far in the video, please let me know. Please type in MCU in the chat so I know. Thumbs up the video while you're at it. If you do like what I do here and you want to support it, please subscribe. Check back daily for new content, or you can always help out with Patreon or Subscribestar. Link below in the video description. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. Again, look, I want to see this movie. I want it to be good, but everything that they're putting out so far is really not doing it. It's Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. We all know how that turned out. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. While you're here, feel free to check out that subscribe button. You know, help the channel out. Or you can watch any of the newest videos and make sure that you're caught up to date with what's going on in Hollywood and entertainment. So that way, when you're at work tomorrow, you can wow your friends with the information you learned from watching these videos. That's right. I said it. Subscribe.